Have you ever woken up already feeling behind? Do you reach for your phone or a cup of coffee before you've even taken a breath? What if instead of caffeine, you fueled your morning with something far more powerful? Clarity, calm, and purpose. Before we dive into the mindset that can reshape your mornings and your life, take a moment to subscribe if you're ready to transform the way you start each day. Because what you feed your mind is just as important as what you feed your body. Imagine waking up not with anxiety, but with intention. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy built on logic and resilience, gives us practical tools to meet each day with strength and serenity. In this video, we'll explore 9 Stoic principles that can help you start every morning centered, focused, and in control. Let's begin. Number 1. Purpose is your real morning fuel. Forget the coffee. What really gets you out of bed is purpose. Each morning there's a choice: to drift into the day, reacting to whatever it throws at you, or to rise with clarity, intent, and focus. While millions rely on caffeine to shake off the fog of sleep, the truly powerful awaken not with a jolt of espresso, but with a clear sense of why they're here. Coffee might perk up the body, but it's purpose that ignites the mind and soul. Before the world begins to intrude, before emails, notifications, and the noise of modern life pour in, there's a brief window of silence. This is the golden moment to ask, what is my intention today? It's a simple question, but its impact is profound. What do I want this day to mean? Who do I want to be when difficulty strikes? How will I show up for myself, for others, for the life I'm building? Too many people wake up and instantly reach for their phones. They scroll, swipe, and tap themselves into a reactive mindset before even stepping out of bed. This is how days are wasted, not lived. But with purpose, everything changes. You don't merely respond to the day, you lead it. Purpose acts like a compass. It keeps you oriented even in chaos. You might not control every outcome, but you can always control your direction. When you walk into the day with a clear sense of mission, whether it's to be patient, to create something meaningful, to help someone in need, or to conquer a challenge, you become anchored. You move with steadiness, not scatter. The Stoics spoke often about the importance of intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations about rising each morning to do the work of a human being, work that involves justice, discipline, courage, and wisdom. To him, every day was another chance to act with virtue, regardless of how others behaved or how the external world unfolded. And let's be clear, purpose doesn't have to mean some grand, world-changing goal every day. Sometimes purpose is about consistency. It's about doing the right thing even when no one notices. It's about showing up for your responsibilities, taking care of your health, or being kind to a stranger. These small acts of alignment compound over time into a life of deep meaning. There's also a deeper truth here. Purpose is energy. It fuels the will. Think of a time when you were deeply excited about a project or mission. You didn't need motivation. You were already in motion. You didn't drag yourself out of bed. You sprang up because something larger than comfort was pulling you forward. That's the secret. When you serve something greater than yourself, you gain access to reservoirs of energy that no stimulant can match. So before the coffee, before the rush, before the noise, pause. Sit in silence for even 5 minutes. Breathe, reflect, write your intention down if needed, and then carry that purpose into every action, every decision. Make it your real morning fuel. Because once the mind is activated by purpose, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 2. Anticipate, don't avoid. Premeditatio malorum. Life is unpredictable. Prepare for it. One of the core practices of Stoic philosophy is the exercise known as premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of evils. It might sound negative at first glance, but its purpose is profoundly empowering. This ancient practice teaches us to anticipate setbacks rather than avoiding or denying the possibility that they will occur. Every morning, take a few minutes to reflect. What could go wrong today? What might challenge me? Could there be delays, arguments, disappointments, or unexpected turns? This is not a call to pessimism. It's not about wallowing in worst-case scenarios. It's about developing a mental and emotional readiness, so that when the unexpected arrives, you're not surprised or overwhelmed. You're steady because you saw it coming. This approach builds mental resilience. Rather than flinching at discomfort or frustration, you start to expect it. And because you expect it, you meet it calmly. You don't spiral into anger when someone cuts you off in traffic. You don't fall apart when your plans fall through. You've already practiced facing these situations in your mind. Now, in reality, you respond with poise. Let's be honest, many people live in avoidance. They hope things go smoothly, and when they don't, they react with shock or despair. But life is not a frictionless path. It's full of variables, many beyond our control. The Stoics understood this. That's why they trained themselves daily to face whatever may come. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." That may sound harsh, but it's incredibly practical. By setting his expectations realistically, he wasn't disappointed by human nature. He was prepared for it, and that gave him the upper hand. When you train your mind through premeditatio malorum, you build what modern psychologists call cognitive inoculation. Just as a vaccine introduces a small dose of a virus to build immunity, imagining minor setbacks conditions your mind to handle real challenges with less emotional reactivity. This practice doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger. Try it tomorrow morning. Before you head out or start your day, run a mental simulation. What's likely to go wrong? How might people misunderstand you? Where could things break down? And then ask, how will I respond if that happens? Visualize yourself staying composed, making wise decisions, and maintaining your values even in difficulty. You're not trying to avoid misfortune. You're rehearsing for it. You're building internal armor, not by denying adversity, but by learning to walk straight through it. And over time, you'll notice something powerful. The things that used to unsettle you lose their grip. The minor inconveniences no longer dominate your mood. You start to carry an inner peace, born not from fantasy, but from preparation. You become someone who isn't easily shaken, not because life became easier, but because you became equipped. Anticipation is not fear, it's fortitude. Premeditatio malorum is your mental training ground. Use it, practice it, and watch as your confidence grows, your reactions sharpen, and your inner calm deepens, even when life doesn't go according to plan. Number 3, take full ownership. No excuses. Every choice, every reaction, you own it. This idea, though simple in theory, is revolutionary in practice. We live in a world that often encourages blame. The economy, our upbringing, our past, or even the weather. There's always something outside ourselves we can point to when things go wrong. But blaming others or circumstances may feel comforting in the moment, yet it does something incredibly damaging. It strips you of your power. When you place responsibility elsewhere, you give up the steering wheel of your life. You become a passenger, tossed around by conditions you claim you can't control. But the truth is far more empowering. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. Every reaction is a decision. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Taking full ownership of your life doesn't mean ignoring injustice or pretending pain doesn't exist. It means choosing not to remain stuck in it. You don't excuse the past, but you refuse to be imprisoned by it. Ownership means you recognize that while you didn't choose everything that happened to you, you absolutely choose what you do next. This mindset is transformational. Think about the person who always blames others for their misfortunes. Life happens to them. They are reactive, bitter, constantly waiting for the world to change so they can finally be happy. Contrast that with the person who says, "It's on me." They might face the same obstacles, but they take action. They ask questions like, "What can I do differently next time?" Or, "How can I grow from this?" They don't wait. They move. When you take full ownership, you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a creator. You become the author of your life, not merely the audience. That shift changes everything. Suddenly, failure becomes feedback. Criticism becomes a chance to refine your skills. Mistakes become stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Of course, this path isn't easy. It's much more comfortable to point the finger at someone else, but comfort won't take you anywhere worth going. Growth lives outside the realm of excuses. Excuses are seductive because they absolve us of responsibility, but they also deny us the chance to evolve. They say, "This isn't my fault," but they also whisper, "This isn't my life to shape." Make no mistake, taking ownership is not about self-blame. It's not about being harsh or unkind to yourself. It's about standing in your power and saying, "I may not have caused this, but I choose how I meet it." That is where your strength lies. In every moment, you get to decide who you will be. So the next time you're tempted to make an excuse or blame someone else, pause. Ask yourself, what can I take responsibility for in this situation? Even if it's just your attitude, even if it's just the way you choose to respond. That small decision is where your growth begins. Excuses are like chains. They keep you bound to who you were yesterday. But ownership is the key. It unlocks the door to who you can become. Number 4, start with gratitude, not demands. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people wake up and immediately start thinking about what they don't have, what they need to get, and what problems they must solve. Their first thoughts are demands, not appreciations. But what if you flipped that script? What if instead of starting with lack, you started with thanks? Gratitude is not just a feel-good concept. It's a state of mind that fundamentally alters the way you experience life. When you start your day by acknowledging what you're grateful for, you shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. You stop obsessing over what's missing and begin noticing all that is already present. This isn't about ignoring your goals or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about establishing a foundation of appreciation before you act. When you begin with gratitude, everything else becomes easier. Your problems shrink. Your patience increases. Your mindset softens, but also sharpens, because you're no longer fueled by desperation. You're fueled by perspective. Gratitude doesn't need to be grand. It could be as simple as being thankful for the breath in your lungs, the sun rising outside your window, or the quiet moment before the world wakes up. These small acknowledgements ground you in reality, in what is, not what's missing. Think of your mind like a lens. If you start your day focusing on what's wrong, that lens narrows, it blocks out the good, distorts the neutral, and amplifies the negative. But when you start with gratitude, that lens widens. It lets in light. It reveals opportunities. It quiets the noise. Practicing gratitude also trains your brain over time. Studies have shown that people who regularly express gratitude experience lower stress levels, improved mental health, and even stronger immune systems. It's not magic. It's mindset. There's power in the simple act of writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Not what you want, not what you hope to achieve, just what already is. This practice can anchor you even during storms, because no matter how chaotic life gets, there is always something to be thankful for. Starting with gratitude also changes the way you treat others. You become less entitled, more compassionate. You stop expecting the world to owe you something, and instead you recognize how much it's already given. That attitude shift makes you more resilient, more generous, and far more magnetic to others. Demand says, I need more. Gratitude says, I have enough, and I'll grow from here. This doesn't mean you shouldn't strive for more. Ambition is healthy, but ambition rooted in appreciation, not emptiness, is far more sustainable. You're not chasing because you feel broken. You're growing because you feel blessed. That's the difference. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or dive into your to-do list, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what am I thankful for right now? Let that be the foundation of your day. Let it be the fuel behind your actions and the filter through which you see the world. Gratitude is not the end of desire. It's the beginning of clarity. When you appreciate the small, the big no longer controls you. Instead of being overwhelmed by what you lack, you become empowered by all that you have. And from that place of strength, you move forward. Not because you're empty, but because you're full. Number 5, cut the noise. Prioritize what matters. In today's world, the morning often begins in chaos. The alarm goes off, and within minutes you're checking emails, scrolling through social media, glancing at news headlines and responding to a dozen notifications. Before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is already racing. But here's the truth. How you start your morning shapes the rest of your day. A chaotic beginning invites a chaotic mind, and in chaos, clarity dies. Stoicism teaches us a different approach, one rooted in simplicity and intention. The Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they understood distraction. They knew that the mind, if left unchecked, would dart from one thing to the next, pulled by desires, worries, and the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less. Not nothing, but less of what doesn't matter." And that's the essence of cutting the noise. The practice begins the moment you wake up. Instead of diving into the flood of external information, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what truly matters today? This isn't about cramming 20 things into your schedule. It's about choosing one or two meaningful tasks, the ones that align with your values, your purpose, your long-term vision, and giving them your full attention. This doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities or neglecting commitments. It means being ruthless about what deserves your focus. Seneca warned us that life is not short, but it becomes short when we waste it. Time, after all, is our most precious currency. Every moment spent on trivialities is a moment lost from what really counts. Consider the idea of essentialism, doing less, but better. When you choose to focus on fewer things, you give those things more of yourself. Your energy isn't diluted across a dozen half-finished tasks. Instead, it's concentrated, powerful, and effective. This is where clarity is born, when you eliminate the unnecessary and turn your full attention to what truly matters. The modern world glorifies multitasking. But science and philosophy agree, multitasking scatters the mind. It doesn't make you more productive. It makes you less present. And presence is power. A focused mind sees more clearly, acts more deliberately, and lives more fully. The Stoic understands this. That's why their mornings weren't rushed or reactive. They were deliberate, grounded, and calm. Journaling is one powerful tool to support this mindset. Take 5 minutes in the morning to write down your intentions. Ask, what is within my control today? What will I choose to give my energy to? What distractions can I let go of? This simple act builds mental discipline and reinforces a Stoic habit of self-reflection. Another way to cut the noise is to create boundaries around your attention. Not every email needs an instant reply. Not every headline needs to be read. Not every opinion needs your response. Your energy is finite. Treat it as sacred. When you allow everyone and everything to pull at your focus, you become a servant to the chaos around you. But when you choose where your attention goes, you reclaim your power. There is also a moral component here. The Stoics believed we are here not to be entertained or distracted, but to live with purpose and virtue. When we waste time, we aren't just being inefficient. We are living beneath our potential. Cutting the noise is not about being more productive for the sake of achievement. It's about creating the space to live a life of depth, clarity, and intention. In practical terms, this could mean beginning your day without your phone. It could mean scheduling your most important work during the first 2 hours of your morning, when your mind is most fresh. It could mean turning off notifications or saying no more often. These small choices accumulate, and over time, they reshape your entire life. The Stoic life is not rigid or joyless, it's intentional. When you simplify your mornings, you create a strong foundation. From that calm center, you're able to respond to life instead of react to it. You move with clarity instead of confusion. You prioritize what matters and let the rest fade into the background. So tomorrow morning, try this. Wake up and breathe. Resist the urge to reach for your phone. Ask yourself what truly deserves your energy. Choose 1 or 2 meaningful tasks. Then commit. Eliminate the noise. Focus. And walk into your day with the quiet strength of someone who knows exactly what matters. Number 6. Observe emotions, don't chase them. You are not your emotions. This simple truth is one of the most liberating insights of Stoic philosophy. It means that while you may feel anger, sadness, fear, or joy, you are not defined by those feelings. They are not permanent, nor are they your identity. You are the observer, not the storm. Emotions are like weather. They come, they go, and while they might shake the leaves of your life, they don't have to uproot you. Emotional maturity begins when you learn to create space between stimulus and response. Something happens. You get insulted, praised, disappointed, surprised, and your first instinct is to react. But Stoicism teaches us to pause. Instead of being pulled into the whirlwind, you step back. You observe. You ask, is this emotion helping me or hurting me? Is this feeling something I must act on, or simply acknowledge and let pass? Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, watching waves crash below. You don't jump in, you observe. The waves are powerful, even overwhelming, but from where you stand, you're safe. That's what it means to witness your emotions with detachment. They might be intense, but they don't control you unless you chase them, unless you dive headfirst into every feeling that arises. When anger flares, many people react without thought, lashing out, saying things they later regret. But the Stoic sees anger for what it is, a fleeting surge of emotion. It might feel justified, even righteous, but it clouds judgment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" He knew that acting on emotion without reflection often causes more damage than the event that triggered it. The same is true of fear. Fear distorts. It makes us imagine worst-case scenarios, freeze in indecision, or back away from challenges that could help us grow. A Stoic observes fear like a passing cloud. Why am I afraid? What story am I telling myself? Is the danger real or imagined? By asking these questions, we loosen fear's grip. Even joy, something we all want, can become a trap when we chase it. If you constantly seek emotional highs, you may live in a state of craving. You might find yourself restless, always needing the next thrill or compliment to feel good. Stoicism offers a different kind of joy, a quieter, deeper satisfaction that comes not from chasing feelings, but from living in alignment with your values. Epictetus advised us to remember that emotions are within our power only in how we respond to them. We cannot control every feeling that arises, but we can control our reaction. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending we don't feel. It means feeling them fully, without being ruled by them. Let's be clear. Stoicism does not demand that you become an emotionless stone. It's not about bottling things up or pretending to be unaffected. On the contrary, it invites you to become fully human, to feel love, grief, gratitude, and even anger, but to hold them lightly, to know that they are part of your experience, not your essence. Real strength is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to master it. And mastery doesn't mean domination, it means awareness. It means knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to let go. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause, breathe, watch your emotions rise like a wave. Let them crest and fall. Don't chase them, don't run from them, just observe. This is freedom. Number 7, stay grounded. Praise or criticism doesn't define you. Praise and criticism, two sides of the same coin, both seductive, both dangerous if you let them control you. We live in a world that constantly measures us, likes, comments, promotions, applause, or the lack of them. It's tempting to hinge our self-worth on these external signals, to feel proud when praised and crushed when criticized. But Stoicism asks us to root ourselves deeper, to find an inner stability that doesn't rise or fall with the crowd's opinion. Why? Because public opinion is fickle. One day you're admired, the next you're misunderstood or attacked. If you build your confidence on external validation, you're building a castle on sand. It might look strong, but the tide of criticism, or even indifference, can wash it away in an instant. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor constantly under the public eye, wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Whether people praise you or blame you, neither should shake your core. What matters most is your integrity, how closely your actions align with your values. Let's take praise first. It feels good, no doubt. Being told you're smart, talented, kind, it's affirming. But if you begin to rely on praise, it becomes addictive. You start performing not from purpose, but for approval. Your motivation shifts from doing what's right to doing what will get you applause. That's a dangerous place to be, because it makes your sense of worth fragile, dependent on others. Now consider criticism. No one likes it. It stings. Sometimes it's unjust. Sometimes it's true. Either way, Stoicism teaches us to receive it calmly, like a seasoned sailor in a storm. Not with defensiveness, but with curiosity. Is there truth in this? Can I improve from it? If yes, great. Grow. If not, dismiss it without anger. Don't let one person's opinion derail your peace. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." The same applies to validation. If you crave praise or fear criticism, you are poor in self-knowledge. But when you know who you are, what you stand for, you become rich in confidence. This inner confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to shout or convince. It doesn't crumble when ignored. It's built through consistency, through choosing what's right even when no one is watching. It's what allows you to walk through both applause and insult with your head held high. Think of a tree rooted deep in the earth. Winds come, some soft, some violent. But the tree stands firm. Its roots hold it in place. Your roots are your principles, your character, your reasoned choices. The deeper they go, the less you sway. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent to people. On the contrary, Stoicism encourages compassion and understanding. But it warns us not to tie our identity to the ever-changing opinions of others. So, when someone praises you, smile perhaps, but don't let it inflate you. When someone criticizes you, listen if it helps. But don't let it crush you. Stay grounded. The only approval you truly need is your own, and that comes from living with virtue, not validation. Let the world speak. You stay silent within, rooted, unshaken. Number 8. Focus on effort, not outcome. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the understanding that we do not control external outcomes, only our actions and intentions. In a world obsessed with results, with winning, with hitting targets and chasing numbers, this principle can feel almost radical. But it is exactly this shift in perspective, from outcome to effort, that unlocks a kind of peace few ever find. Think about it. How much of your stress, anxiety, and frustration stems from the gap between your efforts and your results? You put in the hours, you gave it your all, and still, things didn't work out the way you hoped. The deal fell through. The job offer never came. The person you cared about didn't feel the same. And in those moments, it's easy to feel powerless, like nothing you do matters. But the Stoics would tell you otherwise. They would remind you that what you can control is always enough. You can control your discipline. You can control your attitude. You can control how much of yourself you pour into a task. That's where your focus should live. Not in the realm of results, but in the arena of effort. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's not that outcomes don't matter at all. It's that they're not where your power lies. The irony is, when you stop obsessing over the results, you often perform better. You stop chasing, and you start flowing. You stop calculating every move, and start committing fully to the moment. That's when mastery happens. Imagine an archer. She pulls back the bowstring, takes careful aim, and releases. Her form is perfect. Her breath is steady. She's trained for years. But once the arrow leaves her hand, what happens next is no longer up to her. The wind might shift. The target might move. Someone might walk into the path. The arrow might miss. Does that mean her effort was wasted? Of course not. The Stoic archer knows that success lies in the shot, not in whether the arrow hits. That's her domain. The preparation, the posture, the practice, the execution. If she did her best, she has succeeded, regardless of where the arrow lands. This isn't just about archery, it's about life. Your job is to give your full presence and energy to what's in front of you, to study, to work, to love, to create, with care and intention. You show up, you give your best, and then you let go. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you understand the limits of your influence. It means you're wise enough to avoid suffering over things you never controlled in the first place. When you tie your worth to the outcome, you become a slave to luck and timing. But when you tie your worth to your effort, you reclaim your power. It's not easy to live this way in a world that rewards results. Most people will measure your value by what you achieve. But you don't have to live by their scorecard. Your peace doesn't have to hinge on their approval. Ask yourself at the end of each day, did I do my best with what I had? Did I show up fully? Did I give what I could, even if it didn't go perfectly? That's the Stoic metric. That's the mark of a life well lived. When you focus on effort, you also develop a more compassionate relationship with yourself. You stop punishing yourself for every loss and start celebrating the courage it takes to try. This mindset doesn't make you passive, it makes you resilient, because no failure can define you if you know you gave everything you had. So master the art of effort. Make it your practice. Whether it's a conversation, a workout, a project, or a dream, approach it with everything you've got. Then breathe and release it. You did your part. Now, let life do the rest. Number 9, see life through the lens of finality. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the deep realization that this might be the last time you ever see your bedroom bathed in morning light. That this could be the last sunrise you ever witness. The E. Last time you sip your coffee, feel the breeze on your skin, or hear a loved one's voice. Would you rush through it? Would you bury your face in your phone? Would you complain about trivial things, or let frustration hijack your mood? Probably not. You'd pause, you'd breathe, you'd notice, and you'd realize just how precious and fragile each moment truly is. This is the Stoic art of contemplating mortality, not to be morbid, but to be awake. The Stoics called this memento mori, remember, you must die. It wasn't meant as a grim warning, but as a powerful reminder to live. Seneca, one of Stoicism's great voices, wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." To the Stoics, death wasn't something to fear. It was the ultimate motivator to stop postponing life. When you see life through the lens of finality, you stop sleepwalking through your days. You become more present, more intentional, more grateful. Most of us live like we have endless time. We push off the conversations we should have. We put our dreams on hold. We assume we'll get around to appreciating the people we love later. But there may be no later. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to free you. Because when you treat today as a gift, because it very well might be your last, everything changes. You listen more closely. You forgive more quickly. You hold people tighter. You speak more truthfully. You waste less time. Think of someone you care about deeply, a parent, a friend, a partner. What if this was the last time you'd see them smile? How would you greet them? What would you say? What would you no longer take for granted? The Stoic way is to act on that thought, not just think it. To live as if your time, and everyone else's, is limited. Because it is. Life is unpredictable. Nothing is guaranteed. When we forget that, we tend to drift. We fall into routines, going through the motions. We become numb to wonder. We get irritated by things that truly don't matter. But death wakes us up. It reminds us what does matter. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this often. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not a depressing idea, it's liberating. It pushes you to realign your priorities, to ask the hard questions. Am I living the life I want? Am I being honest with myself? Am I present? Or am I just passing time? The Stoics weren't interested in theoretical wisdom. They believed philosophy was for living, for action, for practice. And practicing finality doesn't mean walking around in fear of death. It means you walk with clarity, knowing that every sunrise is one less you'll see. Every moment is non-refundable. This mindset doesn't make you fearful. It makes you focused. Finality teaches urgency, not panic but purpose. It helps you shed distractions and engage more deeply with the now. Because when you grasp how short life really is, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. Gossip, resentment, mindless scrolling, perfectionism. They fall away. You realize there's no room for ego, no time to chase validation, no reason to postpone peace. And here's the paradox. When you embrace death, you start to truly live. You stop being afraid to express love. You stop waiting to chase your dreams. You stop needing everything to be perfect before you act. You become bold. You become grateful. You become alive. This practice doesn't mean you never feel grief or fear or loss. It means you meet those feelings with awareness. You understand that to be human is to be temporary, and that every second you spend on this earth is both a miracle and an invitation. So ask yourself, if today were your last, who would you reach out to? What would you finally stop postponing? How would you treat the people around you? What would you appreciate that you normally overlook? Let the answers to those questions shape your day. Let them shape your life. See life through the lens of finality, not to be haunted by death, but to be illuminated by it. Use it as a lens to sharpen your focus, deepen your connections, and anchor yourself in the present. Because when you live as though every moment counts, it does. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending life is easy. It's about facing reality with courage, clarity, and calm. Each of these principles is a seed. Plant one each morning, and over time, you'll grow a life rooted in resilience. Remember, the way you start your morning shapes your entire day. Choose to begin with stillness, with presence, and with purpose. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of self-mastery. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Fuel it wisely.